Hello guys, welcome back to my tutorial. In today's tutorial, I will be working on how to develop a simple login page that requires user sessioning system to be able to pass the username to another section in our pages. Okay, to get started, we will be starting from scratch. I'll be using one server for my local server. So if you have one server in your system, you can get started with it, and if you have XAMPP, the same thing. So I'll be using one server to start my. Okay, I'll wait for my one server to be initiated. At the moment, it's initiating. Okay, so I guess everything is running now. So once your one server is set, then you can go straight to your WAMP or your XAMPP directory. So I'll be going to my own www directory. That's where my WAMP server public HTML is located. So over here, I'll be creating a new folder named PHP underscore login. PHP underscore login. So once I create the folder PHP underscore login, I will enter into the folder. So my folder name will be my URL. Okay, I'm inside my folder. I will get started with writing my code in my folder. I'm going to be opening this empty folder with my VS Code. Good, yeah. Now I've opened my my folder with my VS Code. Now to get started with, in order to track my URL with my XAMPP, so I'm going to go to my browser, then I'm going to write localhost. So I'm very sure this also applies to you. Localhost PHP underscore login is my URL. So I'm going to enter it. Now as you can see, I have this here. I have nothing. My directory is empty, so I will get started by writing my first index HTML. Okay, I will go back to my VS Code and I'm going to create a new file. So the new file will be, let me use this method. Let me close this welcome page and come over here and click on this new file area here. So I'm going to write index.php. Okay, so my index.php is going to contain all my PHP file. Now if I initiate my my starting of PHP here and I type echo, hey buddy, I'm going to see that in my front page. Okay, so now I've saved what I just did now. Control S. In case you don't get what I did just now, I used this. I saved it, which is Control S. Okay, then you go back to my page. Then I'm going to refresh to see the changes I've done so far. Now, as you can see here, my A body is working. We are on good track. Okay, now let's get started writing our basic HTML login page. No designing, no more, no extra designing. Just something basic, very basic. So the first thing to do in order to make a login page is our form. We need to develop a simple HTML form page that is going to interact with our PHP and our database, which is MySQL. So I'm going to be taking out my pattern of PHP and I'm going to replace it with HTML. So I'll be using the default HTML5. So my default HTML5 is over here. So I'm going to change the title to PHP login page. Login page, yeah. Okay, so inside my body, I'm going to have my form, a simple form. No extra details to it. Just a straightforward PHP login page that you can use in your project. So my action is where the form values is going to. So my actions will be on connect.php, which we are going to develop later in this tutorial. So once my action is set, then my method has to be also set. So I will set my method to be post. So that's the method we use in passing our data. Using the HTTP request method. So I'll be passing it through post into my connect.php, while the connect.php will develop in this tutorial once we are done writing or designing our form. So not much designing, just a very simple and basic design. Okay, now let's get started. So I'm going to be writing my label. So my label for email, and here will be email. Sorry. My screen is too big, that's why I'm getting that error. Okay, email, sorry, something is wrong. Okay, my short code is revealing. So once my email is set, then The label is used for who the input field here will be for email, input email, and the name will be email. Now my ID will not be email. It has to match this current version here. This is the email. So for email, so once that is set, I can also include my placeholder. Enter your email. Enter your email. Good. So now I'm done with my email. Let's save that and check that out on our browser. Let's see what we have. Now we have email. Now the next one we're going to do now is the password. So we have the email for the email and the password for the password. Now here I'm going to write a new one. This is the label. This is for password. Okay. Password. The here will not be password. Password. And my input field will be input then colon password. Yeah. So the name here will be password. Sorry. Password. Okay. And my ID will also be password. It has to match the current four I use in my label. So I save this, I refresh, and also get the password. Good. So my email and my password is set. Good. Now we are ready to log in. Let's give it a name. Let's give it a name at the head of the form, which will be H2 or H3, anything you would like to call it. So here will not be login page, login form. Sorry, let's use login form. So login form. Refresh. I'm gonna get it. So login form. So once you are done setting your email, your password, the next thing you have to do now is your input field. Your input field for the submit button. So you can either use button or we use what is it called? We use input field. So let's go for input field today. Maybe in the other time we are going to be using what's it called? We're going to be using button because we can also use button and input field. So let's say input submit and the value will be login. Login. So the place. Sorry. Yeah, that's all for that. Okay, so here we have email, we have the password, and we have the login. So we are done with our basic login page. Yeah. Okay. In order to get started with, if you discover now, if I click on login, it will not. Okay, sorry. Let me try to have something there. If I click on login now, it did not take me to anywhere. It says connect.php not found. So now we are going to set our connect.php for this particular file. So connect.php is going to be registered in our file area. So I'm going to be generating a new file called connect.php. So the connect.php will be the one handling the request for the post in our login page and also for the post in our registration page. At the moment we are not logged in, we are not registered. You need to register for you to be able to log in. Okay, but let's just set everything down. Okay, okay, let's change the login page first and let's do it for the registration. So here login page has been designed. The next one we have to do now is the registration page. So we can easily copy this. Yeah, you can copy it to make it faster. So let's copy it and paste it down below. So here will not be registration page. Sign up page. So let's call this sign up page. Or sign up form rather, sorry. So sign up form also connect.php. So the first one will not be, instead of email, we are going to be having name. We're going to be having name. So here will be name, the simple name, and input, the type of text. So here will be name, and our ID will be name. Yes. So we have sign up now, sign up form and login form. So in the sign up form, we have the name, we have the admin password, we have the email, sorry, and we have the password. So we are going to be using this now. Okay, so now let's get started. So in the connect.php, I'm going to undo this request. So any request that has name in it, I'm going to look at which request is coming from the sign up form, or I can easily add the request type here. So here I'll give it the name of sign up. I'll give it the name of sign up. So I will know the request is sign up, and also for the login area, I'm going to give it a name of sign in or login. Sign in or login. So I'll be able to know, okay, this one is coming from the login area. Okay, so this one is set now. Now let me go to my content.php and accept this handler. So I'm going to accept this handler, and then I'm going to dump everything coming from there to be very sure we are on the right track. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is if post if post sorry, I did not start with PHP. I'm very sorry. So I'm going to say post if post request is sign up, then sorry, so we are going to dump everything from post into our page. So we will dump post. So anything that is inside the post, let's see what it is. So we are going to be logging everything to be very sure we are coming from sign up page. So now what I just did here is I'm saying that everything that is here, once I click on submit, once I click on sign up here, this is not sign up, this is the login. Let me change the sign up. So once I click on sign up, it's going to push everything here. All the data that I have here, the name, the email, the password, is going to be pushed down to this place. So we are going to log everything inside this post down to this place. So that's what I'm doing, nothing more. So let me refresh the page now. I've refreshed the page and I'm going to enter my name. So my name is Abileyayedeji, then my email is abileyayedeji@gmail.com, and my password, let me give it hard name. Okay. So I'm going to click on sign up and let's see the magic that is going to happen in the next page. Okay, when I click on sign up, now we get our array. Now here we have the array of name, email, password. Yeah, it's absolutely correct. Now we are on the right track of moving on to the next one. Now our details are sent to connect.php. Now we have successfully undo this request. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do now is to make a PHP MySQL connection. Okay, so to get started with it, so I'm going to open a new tab and I'm going to go to my localhost PHP admin. I'm very sure you are familiar with that. So don't mind my screen. My screen is a very big type. So I'm just trying to make it zoomed so that you're able to get what I'm doing. Okay, so let me zoom out a bit. Then later we can now zoom in. Okay, I've zoomed out a bit. So let me bring down this navigation bar. So I'm going to click on new. I'm going to add a new database. So PHP login is my database. So I'm going to create this. Yeah, my database has been created. So what do you want to create? Which table do you want to create? Now here is my database. Inside my database we have several tables. So which table do I want to create? So I'm going to be creating the table of users. Yeah, because we'll be passing in different users. Now, how many columns do I need in my user table? Okay, the first thing that we're going to do, the first column by default is ID, the second column is the email, the third column is the name, and the fourth column is the password. So we have the email, which is the first column, ID first column, name second column, email third column, and password is the fourth column. Okay, so everything together is 4 in general. So I'm going to click on go. So once I click on go, over here I'm going to write it ID. So my ID will be automatic increment. So we need to make ID an automatic increment. That is, the ID will be unique. It should be generated for every individual that registers on the page, which is the auto increment. You don't have to stress yourself by trying to handle some requests or giving an ID to everyone. So once that has been set to auto increment in the primary section, then the next thing we are going to do is to introduce the name. Yeah, the name of the user, and the name of the user will be in voucher. So we have integer, we have text, we have date and time, but we are not going to be going more deeper, because this is just a basic class for you. In the next class, we're going to be doing more deeper class than that. Okay, so today we'll be working on this. So the name will be voucher. It can either be voucher or text. So let's use voucher for today. Now, what's the length of my voucher? So let me give it a length of 2 or 1,000. 1,000 is better. Then I assign a default value. So I won't run into an error whenever a user sign up without a default, without a value. That is, if user sign up without any value, should take in. Yeah, that's what we call null. So let's make it null label. So after the email is set, then after the mail is set, then the next one is email. The email also is voucher. The same 1,000. I'm very sure no one's email is 1,000. I'm just giving 1,000. Okay, so the next one is password. Password. So the password is also the voucher. Yeah. So voucher simply means string. So 1,000. Sorry, I wrote 10,000. Okay, so I'm going to make it null. But if I make password null, yeah, it's actually tutorial. So once you're on the live server, you can take this as null and turn it to none. So it should not be null because password is very important and also email is important. You can't leave email empty, neither password empty, but just for a tutorial basic. So that's why we are giving it a nullable value. Okay, so once that one is set, the next thing we're going to do is to save this data. Good, my data has been saved. I have my ID, my email, my password. Fine. So I'm going to go to browse now. Now here I have my tables for my details. Okay, now at the moment we have no data in our database. So the first thing we have to do now is to make a connection to PHP login database before we start selecting the users. Okay, so now let's make our connection and see what we have here. So let me go back to our code and write and clear this guy off this place. So I'm going to be generating a connection of both. I'm going to generate the connection above my request. So the connection can be used for sign up and also for sign in, which is the login page. Okay, so the next thing, so the first thing I'm going to do now is to write a variable con or variable connection. So let me make it more familiar. Variable connection equals to MySQLi connect. MySQLi connect. So the first thing is the localhost, which is the host. The second one is the once you get your localhost, the next one is the user, which is the root, and the third one is the password, which is empty based on localhost that we have, and the database name is PHP underscore login. Yeah. So I'm going to close that. It's very, very simple, not really difficult at all. So let me break it down into pieces so you'll be able to get what I'm doing. Yeah. So these are our connection. So once this connection is appropriate, we are going to make a check if it's working or not. So I'm going to copy this connection and I'm going to come down below to this place and say if connection is true. That is, if connection is successful, then equal connection is good. Connection is good. Else equal wrong connection. Yeah. Okay. So if connection went through, the connection is good, else wrong connection. So let me go back to this place and just load this page normally. Okay, so here we have connection is good, but we have another issue. It says undefined index sign up. And the reason why it's undefined is because we didn't make an if statement of if set. So I'm going to go back to my data here and say if it's set post and post sign up is included. So I'm very sure there won't be any error. Okay, so we are successfully connected to our database, which is good to go. Now we are good to go in order to proceed to our next level. So I'm going to delete this. We don't need it for now. We just use it for connection checking. So you can comment it out and use it for your connection checking. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to save this and come down to this place and relog my data again. So equal variable dump. So let's see what we have in our data again. Variable dump. I'm very sure we are on the right track. Variable dump post. Okay, so I've posted this. So I'm going to go back to my page. I'm going to go back to my page. Sorry. Okay, now here's my page. So once I'm on my page, I'm going to sign up again, put my email, put my password, and click on sign up. Okay, so here I have my name, email, password. So this is what we are going to be handling in our connect.php. So I'm going to be handling name, email, password, and sign up. So that's what we're going to be handling. So in the next tutorial, we're going to be working on that. So stay tuned and connect with the next tutorial. Thank you. See you in the next tutorial. Hey buddy, welcome back to the class. Okay, so let's continue from where we stopped. The last time we talked about taking our values from the name, the email, the password, and the sign up. Okay, now let's go back to our connect.php now. So I'm going to be going back to our connect.php. So we are going to be handling those requests based on our connection, based on the connection we use in this place. Okay, so I'm going to be taking my name equals to PHP underscore post, then name. So I'll do the same for the rest. Email and here password. Okay, so I guess that's all for now. Name, email, password. So let me cross check that. Name, email, password. Yes. So this sign up we don't need. Okay, so we have the name, email, and the password. Now for the password now, we need to encrypt it. So I'm going to be creating password encrypt. Password encrypt equals to MD5, then password. So I will encrypt this password so it will not be visible to anyone checking the database. Okay, so now let's make the query. So here we'll be making the query. So now to get started, I'm going to be writing variable query equals to MySQLi query. MySQLi query. So once I have the query, then I'm going to have MySQLi query. So the first one will be the connection I have. So connection, comma. Now here will not be my MySQL. So here I'm going to have insert into users. That's my table. Insert into users. Now we are not inserting into. So I'm going to be inserting into my name, my name, my email, my password. So I'm going to be inserting into my name, my email, my password. Now the values will be the first one, which is the name, second one is the name, then the second one, which is the email, the email, and the third one, which is the password encrypt. Password encrypt. Okay, so those are the things we are going to be adding. Now let me come back again. So here we're using my SQL query to make our connection. And once our connection is set, then we are going to insert into table users in our database. So inside our database, we are going to be mapping name, email, and password to these values. So once everything is set, then we are going to log it and say if there is a successful connection, if query successfully added user, they are going to be having, they are going to be getting a message that says user successfully registered. User successfully registered. Else equal error making registration. Okay, so error making registration. So I save that, then I'm going to go back to my browser and we'll start all over to see what I've done so far. Now before we click on sign up, I'm going to check my database. Now if I click on browse now, I'm not going to see anything. So we have no data at the moment. So now let's try to do that now. My password is admin, my email and co. So let me sign up. Now user successfully registered. That's our message. That is we are successfully registered. Now let's check our database if this data is actually there. Okay, fine, we have our data. The name, the email, and the password, which is the MD5, the encrypted password. Okay, so we are good to go. Now let's now try to log in. So since we have successfully registered, then the next one we are going to have now is to pass once user registered. So we have a navigation that is go back. So let's introduce back in this place. So I'm going to be writing. I'm going to be closing my PHP, and here I'm going to have an anchor tag that says back. So back is still going to index.php. So back to page. Back to page. So we're going to take them to back to page. Okay, so we are successfully registered. So once we register, the next thing is to log in. If I click on login now, we have nothing. So now let's also work the login page. Now we are done with the sign up page. So the next one now is to make the login page. So here will now be if is set post, so post login. So now we are going to come back to our index and check for the login page. So if it's set post login, so we are going to be handling the email, which is the email, and the password, which is the password, and we also make an encryption, password encrypt. So we are going to encrypt the password with MD5, then password. So once we encrypt the password, then we are going to, once the password is encrypted, then we are going to make the login. So make login possible. Okay, so in our make login possible, then we are going to say query, the same query that we used the other time. So query. Okay, so after we are done encrypting our password, then we're going to write our query. So query equals to the same query we wrote in our login page. So MySQLite query. So MySQLite query. Since MySQLite query, I'm going to introduce my connection that we are using in our registration page. So MySQLite query, then the connection will be the first parameter, and the second parameter will be MySQL. Then it's going to be select everything. Select all from users, where email equals to email, and password, equals to password encrypt. Okay, so we are going to be selecting out from user where email equals to email and password equals to password encrypt. Fine. Now I'm not going to make a new check that says if user is found in the database, that is MySQLite fetch associate. Yeah, that is object. So MySQLite fetch associate, taking the query. So if this user is found in the database alongside with the query we use in our SQL, so do equal variable dump. So let's dump the data of the user to be very sure our data is actually valid. Else user not found. Equal user not found. Okay, user not found. Okay, let me save that and let's try to log in our data. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. This is my simple chatting system. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's go back to the page and refresh what we are doing. Let me refresh the page. Once I refresh the page, I'll try to log in. Good. Now it's working. Now we got our ID, we got our name, we got our email and our password. Now the next thing we are going to do now is to make sure we are not landing to this page whenever we make a login. So we're going to be taken down to our dashboard.php. Okay, so now to get started with, we are going to be taking off this guy, then we are going to use it in a appropriate format. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do now is to introduce session. Now I've introduced a session here, session start. So I'll be introducing my session to pass my data across the page. So session start is what I'm going to use. Now over here now I'm going to write, I'm going to make use of the session. So session, I'm going to be generating a new session. Session username, session user equals to the data we are calling before from the database. The data we are calling from here is this guy here. So I'm going to be using it here. Okay, so session user equals to user. Then once the user session has been set, then we are going to make an header and say location equals to dashboard.php. Yeah, sorry, my autocomplete is covering my page. Okay, so location equals to dashboard.php. So whenever this user is found, so we are going to take them to dashboard.php. So inside our dashboard.php, we are going to introduce the session start that we use at the top so that we'll be able to pass this data into this page. Okay, so we are going to create a new file called dashboard.php. Inside our dashboard.php, we are going to be initializing our PHP from our PHP beginning code. Then here we are going to have session start. Session start. Okay, so now our session starts. Once we have started the session, then we can introduce our HTML page. So over here now we are going to we are going to confirm if our data actually been passed. So we are going to say echo variable dump session user. Okay, so now let's go back to our page. Let's click go back and click on login. Now as you can see, we are on dashboard.php. And our session is working very fine. So thank God, we give God the glory for that. Now let's now check it now. Let's now make use of the data. So I'll be setting my title. At the moment, we only have documents here. So I'm going to be setting my document to be my title. So here will now be dashboard. It won't be document anymore. Sorry, dashboard. The hyphen. Sorry. Okay, in the hyphen. Sorry, hyphen. Equal session user. Then the name. If I save this now and I pass it, it's going to work. But let me take out this guy. Okay, refresh. Now here, as you can see, we have dashboard, the layer Yabeji. Now our title has been passed. So the next thing we're going to do now is to introduce H1 and have welcome. Welcome. My name is Abdullah Yabeji. Sorry, I'm writing my name. It's very fun. Okay, so user and the name. Okay, user the name refresh. Now welcome Adelaya Yedeji. Fine, that's great. So once our welcome has been stated, then the next thing is to print our email in our page. So your email is okay, PHP equal your email is this. Yeah. Okay, your email is I delay I 1 That's my email. Now below it we are going to have our logouts. So I'm going to introduce logout. So logout.php. Logout. Okay, so here we have logout. At the moment logout will not work. So let's create this logout file. We are going to be creating this logout file, logout.php. Now inside logout.php, so I will be accepting session start, and at the same time, I'm going to be accepting session start And at the same time, we're going to destroy the session. Session destroyed. Once we destroy the session, then we're going to be navigated back to location index.php. Yeah. So once we log out, then we are going to be redirected back to index.php. Now let's refresh our page and click on Logout. Now we are logged out now. But if you observe, I click on back. I'm still coming back to this page. Now we need to make this page very secure, so we won't be encountering this error. So to do that, we are going to be checking for session above the page that we are using here. So I'm going to say if is not set, if is not set, sorry, if is not set, that's the same way we do for the login page. If is not set underscore session user, if is not set session user, then take them back to location that is index.php. So it is not set, take them back to index.php. As you can see, it is coming back to index.php. So I click on back now, it won't take me to that page anymore. Yeah. So once I log in again, now I'm logged in, now I refresh. In fact, if I go back and return back to the page, it's still working because it's still logged in. Now if I log out now, if I want to go back, it's not possible. And if you enjoy this tutorial, now please kindly help me click the like icon and subscribe to my channel. And if you love to get more tutorial about PHP in general, you can state it in the comments below. State your request in the comments below, then I'll make a video for you. Yeah, I promise about that. Okay, so love you guys. See you again in my next tutorial. Bye. Share with your friends. Bye.